back to Urban X-Files. My name is Keith, and today I am going to tell you some very strange coincidences, and the people involved in this story are very well known and important people. This is the coincidences of Lincoln and Kennedy. Both presidents, Lincoln and Kennedy, have 7 letters in their last name. Both men were students of law, where they qualified in whatever it was to do with law that we were doing, and both were over 6 feet tall. Both are said to have had lazy eyes, so like one eye looking that way and one eye looking that way, and both had suffered from some genetic ailments. That President Lincoln had something called Marfan's disease, and Kennedy suffered from a very rare disease, which is quite important to myself, which is Addison's disease. And for those of you that don't know, Addison's disease is where your adrenal glands that are situated on your kidneys, and these produce cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So for those who've got adrenal insufficiency syndrome or Addison's disease, they need synthetic steroids to replace this hormone. My wife has Addison's disease and struggles daily through it, amongst other things. So it's very rare as well. And then there was also they both had served in the armed forces. President Lincoln was a scout captain in Black Hawk War, and Kennedy was a naval lieutenant during World War II. And both of them were boat captains. President Lincoln was a skipper, and Kennedy was also a skipper. They both had no fear of their life as such, and they would often sort of dismiss their bodyguards. They felt that they were confident and safe to go about and do their whatever they need to do, which is nice for them, but crazy given the world we live in. And they both used to say how easy it would be to become a victim of assassination while being president. And they both of them used to say if somebody was to take their life, there's nothing that they can do to prevent it. And President Kennedy had supposedly said that if somebody wanted to shoot me from the window with a rifle, nobody can stop it. Now, both the quotes that they use, according to the reference that found, that said that each of their quotes were 16 words long. Now, this can be interpreted to many other things and different coincidences or whatever, but at the same time, when you look at all the evidence that we've been provided with both men. Now, the other strange thing is that during their terms, they were both assassinated on a Friday. And Lincoln was sat next to his wife in the theatre, and Kennedy was sat next to his wife in his car. And they were both wiped out. Now, both their wives, Kennedy's wife and Lincoln's wife, remained unharmed in the assassination. And what else was there was that President Lincoln, when he was sat at the theatre, he was sat at Ford's Theatre, and he was in box 7. And the strange thing was that President Kennedy was in car number 7, which is, again, you could say it's just a coincidence, but it's a bit strange to think that they were both assassinated in similar circumstances. Now, Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theatre, as I said before. And Kennedy was shot when he was in a Ford car, which is a bit of another strange coincidence. And President Kennedy's wife insisted that her husband's funeral be as closely resembled to President Lincoln's as possible. Don't know why. Now we go to the assassins, or the alleged assassins. Both assassins used 3 names. It was John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald. And it was known that Lee Harvey Oswald was known to just as Lee Oswald prior to the assassination. And in each of their names there are 15 letters. Both assassins struck the presidents when they were in their mid-20s. Booth was born in 1838 and Oswald was born in 1939. It's only a year, well, it's 100 years, but you know what I mean. And each assassin had not had a strong father figure in both their lives, and it was said that Booth's father had passed away when he was only a teenager, and Oswald's father had passed away before he was even born. It's also noted that both of the assassins had also been in the military. Booth was a private in the Virginia militia. Oswald was a private in the Marine Corps, and both of the assassins were born in the South. Also, both assassins were known sympathizers to enemies of the United States, and they both supported the Confederacy, and it's said that Oswald was a Marxist. Both assassins had used aliases. Booth had frequently used J. Wilkes, and Oswald used the name as Alec J. Heedle. Now, when Booth had shot Lincoln at the theatre, he was cornered in a warehouse. And when Oswald had shot Kennedy from a warehouse, he was cornered in a theatre, which is a bit weird to say the least. So that one assassin was cornered in the theatre where the other assassin was cornered in a warehouse. Yeah, one president was assassinated in the theatre and the other president was assassinated. It's just mad. Now, each assassin had been detained by an officer named Baker. Now, Lieutenant Luther B. Baker was leader of the Cavalry Patrol, which had trapped Booth at Garrett's Barn, and Officer Marion L. Baker was a Dallas motorcycle patrolman, and he briefly detained Oswald on the second floor of the school book depository until he learned that he worked there. Both assassins were killed with a single gunshot from a Colt revolver. Both assassins were shot in a light blaze after the barn was set on fire, and Oswald in the form of the television cameras. Now, both of the presidents were named after their grandfathers, and both presidents were also the second child to be born. And both of the presidents married when they were in their 30s. Lincoln married his wife at the age of 33, and Kennedy married his wife at the age of 36. And it says that both presidents had married women who were dark-haired, and they were both at the age of 24. Now, it says that both wives of the presidents died around the age of 64. Mary Lincoln died in 1882 at the age of 63 and 215 days. Now, Jackie Kennedy died in 1994 at the age of 64 and 295 days. So it's very, very close. It says that both wives were sort of like role models for the fashion industry. They both loved fashion. Now, it's said that both wives of Lincoln and Kennedy had said they wanted to spruce up the White House, as it had sort of failed and neglected a little bit. So they both redesigned it and gave it back its lease of life. And it said that each of the presidents and their wives had 4 children, and two of them had died sadly before they would even be a teenager. Now, it says that each couple also lost a son while they lived in the White House. Willie Lincoln died at the age of 12 in 1862, and President Kennedy's son Patrick died 2 days after his birth in 1963. Both presidents had been elected to the House of Representatives at 46, and both were runners-up for the party's nomination for vice presidency in 56. It says both were elected to the presidency in 60. Vice presidents, Southern Democrats named Johnson succeeded both Lincoln and Kennedy. So it was Andrew Johnson and Lyndon Johnson. Andrew Johnson was born in 1808 and Lyndon Johnson was born in 1908. And it says it's that there are 6 letters in each of the Johnsons' first name. Whether that's something, I don't know. Both Johnsons served in the military. Andrew was a brigadier general, and in the Civil War, Lyndon was a commander in the US Navy during the Second World War. Both Johnsons were former Southern senators. Both Johnsons had kidney stones, and travelled into the urethra stones, and there are only 2 presidents in the history of the presidents who've had these conditions, and both of the successors, both of the Johnsons, had chosen not to run for re-election after they'd served their first term. So that is a list of these very strange coincidences connected with both President Lincoln and President Kennedy. Now, do you know any more coincidences that I've not mentioned here? Do you think it's just a coincidence? Or do you think that there is something in it? Does it go as deep as things where they say are written in the stars and history repeats itself? I do not know. I just wanted to share this with you. So if you enjoyed it and you would like more of these strange coincidences, please let me know in the comments below. For now, take care and see you all in the next video. Peace.